This is another one in the series of the Knowledge Accelerant webinar series, and we're very excited to have Erin Anderson with us today. She is the LinkedIn expert, and she's going to actually live audit people's profiles. So get your profile ready. Make sure you dust it off and do whatever else you can. Get all the cuss words off of it, everything else that you don't want anybody else to see. I'm sure you guys don't have any of that nonsense. And um, so let's just get started here. Just to give you some, if you don't know me, I think pretty much everybody should know me here. My name is Gabe O'Neill. I am the godfather of the digital business card. And if you text the word Gabe to the number 21,000, you'll get my card. But really, and I think everybody here has already done that. Most everybody has. But really, the one of the real strengths is remembering, is getting you guys to remember each other's digital cards, but also and mine, and also each other. So, for instance, you just have to remember Gabe and 21,000, and you can refer me out to as many people as you want at any time. When we just got on, Dawn and Lorraine were just saying, "Hey, have we connected yet?" No, we're supposed to. Are you? Do you have a card? Yeah, and Lorraine just said energy. That's all she said, and Dawn knew what that meant. And I just thought that was the coolest thing in the world. That, I mean, it's so easy now to get each other's information. But that's really how it is when you're working in any Zoom call, in any networking event. Um, just being able to deliver that information that easily is really where a lot of the strength of our cards lie. And if you text the word cards to 21,000, you will get you'll get everybody's card. So I encourage you to do that, and you'll see that they're all custom done. And yeah, so. And if you want to learn more, you can always jump on my calendar at calendly.com/Gabe O'Neill. And my calendar is open. We can talk to, I can help you with as much as with a lot of different things. You can see I'm a little bit distracted right now, but anyway, okay. And the next networking meeting is tomorrow at 3:00, 3 to 4:30. And it's just the same place where you registered for this is where you register for that. So I encourage you all to come. These are phenomenal events. And what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm just going to go ahead and turn it right over to Erin and let you just take over. So, by the way, let me give you a little bit of an introduction. Erin Anderson, you can text LinkedIn to 21,000 to get her digital card. She's been, I haven't known her that well, but from the time that every visit that we've had together has been very pleasant, very informative, and I really look forward to this presentation. I will say that she's just one thing I'll say about her is that she's on top of her game, and she's an extreme professional. So without any further ado, go ahead, Erin.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gabe, for the introduction. So I'm going to just start with a presentation to give you a little bit of background, and then I have my own LinkedIn profile pulled up so that anybody that wants to get theirs audited, I will search you and be able to do it that way. So first, I'm just going to do a screen share really quickly so you know a little bit about who I am, about who's going to be looking at your LinkedIn. I would encourage everybody in the chat to just drop in your LinkedIn URL as well after this presentation, so that if anybody wants to connect after this, maybe two people have the same name, you're easily able to connect and you can save the chat. But again, this is all LinkedIn audit. So Melinda had previously done a LinkedIn webinar, so I wanted to make it a little bit different and actually interactive, get everyone's minds off of everything that's going on today. So let's go up to the next slide. So who am I? I'm a LinkedIn coach for small business owners specifically, and I'm also a career coach for people during the pandemic. It's really been any job seeker, but I specifically like to work in the transition space and with anybody that is currently experiencing a toxic work culture. I experienced it myself, and so I empower people to leave and find them new opportunities. About 40% of my business is career coaching. About the other 60% is LinkedIn specifically for small business owners. I have my Instagram up here as well as my hashtag on LinkedIn that you can give a follow. And we can definitely connect on LinkedIn. I'll put that in the chat if we aren't already. The way I work with small business owners is in several different ways. So sometimes I do webinars like these. I do group webinars, group events. For one-on-one services, I do Revamp. So that's where everything is done for you. You have nothing to worry about. I go into your account and revamp the whole entire page according to how your ideal client has found you. And so I've been trained in the way the LinkedIn algorithm works. It's very different than anything like Instagram or Facebook or another social media platform. So if you really want to be found effectively, you need to follow the way the LinkedIn algorithm works. And so I do that through revamps. I also do 90-minute audit strategy sessions, which would be something like this, but it's personal to you and it's 90-minute audit on your profile as well as your content that you're building. So for example, if you were, say you posted something yesterday, probably not yesterday because the election, but maybe on Monday, and you're sitting there and you're like, well, I didn't get a lot of likes or comments or engagement. What's going on? Or maybe you did, but you'd like more. I can come in and say, hey, this is what you should change. This is what's not working. Here's how we can fix that. Same with LinkedIn articles as well, which are really starting to gain traction on LinkedIn. So I encourage everyone here, write an article before the end of the year because it also works really, really well with Google SEO. Let's see, I also do business masterminds, which means that I do LinkedIn training programs. So I do this in a few different ways. I do a career bootcamp style for job seekers. I also, right now, I launched a virtual assistant LinkedIn training program, which means I'm essentially training virtual assistants to do what I do, which means if you know of anyone that's a virtual assistant, please send them my way. I do have a referral program. And the third, which fits all of you, is a small business LinkedIn training program where I teach you everything from profile optimization to how to really build effective content and learn how to engage that really sells you on the platform. So a little bit more about me. And it's really teaching you how to build a personal brand on the platform and then get seen. So today is all focused on profile and content. So again, this is casual, it's open. Whoever wants this done, I'll spend a few minutes on each person, depending on how many we have. And it could be anything. It could be profile, or it could also be if you had a recent post and you weren't really happy with the results of that post, we can look at that. And so just keep in mind that everything's going to be a screen share today. So if you are volunteering to have your profile or your content looked at, I know that was in the notes, but just so you know, I will be screen sharing it and we can all learn from each other. So if there's anything that you see that, you know, even just a little frustration, maybe you got a lot of comments or not a lot of likes, or you're not really understanding why people aren't gravitating towards your posts, then that's what we're here for today. So I would love to answer all of your questions. Again, just a little recap of what I discussed before. I have my mastermind 5-week program, one-on-one services, and monthly management. And just my information, I want to put this up here now. So in case you run out of time at the end, I don't want to have to cut anyone off when I'm answering questions. You can text LinkedIn to 21,000. Feel free to book a call on my Calendly. It's Erin-Morgan. Just keep that in mind because there is another Erin Morgan on Calendly. And that's my email there. So if after the session you still have some remaining questions or you're interested in any of those services, please feel free to reach out. So right now what I'm going to do is go onto LinkedIn. I'm going to go into my account, and whoever wants to be first, just come off mute and let me know, and I will go into your account. And we can, again, look at your profile, or we can look at any content that you've created recently. So I'm going to stop share for a minute so that I can switch over to LinkedIn.
I would like mine, Erin.
Awesome.
Me too, Erin. This is Donna.
Okay.
Me too.
Cool. Why don't you guys put in the chat if you can remember the order that everyone just said that, and I'll go through it one by one. Make sure to put your first name and your last name. Honestly, your LinkedIn URL would be the easiest way for me to find you if you've already put it in the chat. Michael, were you the first, or Donna, were you the first? I don't know who was the first.
I heard a woman's voice right before mine.
I think it was
think
Lorraine.
Dawn was-
It was Lorraine. Lorraine.
Was
Yeah.
Lorraine
First. Yeah, Dawn was first. I was second.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right, so I'm on your profile, so I'm going to do shared screen. Okay, so first question is, would you like your profile audited, or is there a recent post that you wanted me to specifically focus on?
Go down, do the profile.
Okay.
Let's start with the profile.
Awesome. So a few different things that I'm seeing here. Obviously, you're telling me really clear in your profile. This is a good thing for everyone else to just keep in mind here. If you have any public proof or organizations that you're affiliated with, absolutely get them on your banner. So great example here is NBC, CBS, Fox, ABC, anything like that. If you've spoken at any events, make sure to have it on here as well. What's missing is a really clear photo of you. So I automatically want to connect with the person, right? Because we're building content through your banner. People connect with people before they connect with your business. So that is one of the things that I would add here. And then also something that encourages me to schedule a call with you or explore further. We do have your website here, which is helpful. So as long as you have an area on your website where somebody can have a consult or get in touch with you further, that's completely fine. But one of the things that I would definitely add here is a photo of you. Next, you always want a photo that's looking directly at your audience, because people connect with people looking at them, right? So as soon as I land on your profile, I see you looking away, which can actually have your audience tend to gravitate towards a profile sometimes because they find that they can't connect as well. It's just like if you've ever been on a webinar or coaching programs where people don't show themselves on video and you're just watching slides over and over again, you kind of like lose a little bit of a disconnect, right? Because you're not able to communicate or see that person one-on-one and connect with them at the same level. So I would definitely encourage you to have a photo that's looking straight at the camera. With business owners, we have a little bit more flexibility, say, than someone going into a banking or a finance career where you have to be in a blazer against a white background. So a purple or pink background is completely fine. I would just encourage you to have something that's looking at the person viewing your profile. Next, what's really, really important is to have a headline according to how you want to be found. So it's thinking to yourself, if I was my ideal client, what would I be searching on LinkedIn to find myself, right? So a lot of the times I see something really similar where people put their company or they put their job title or their tagline, for instance, right? But these aren't necessarily all the keywords that we want to be found by. This used to be I think it was a 220 character space that we could put here. It's free real estate, so we want to optimize your headline as much as possible with all of the key titles. You also want to make sure that if you're talking about a general subject area, so say for example, if we are talking about business coaching or we're talking about mindset or whatever it may be that you do, we want to make sure to have a title at the end of it. So whether it's coach or expert or strategist, whatever that may be, because this is not just a business page, it's a personal page, we want to make sure to identify that subject area to yourself. So you have a lot of room here to be found more in searches. And what I mean by that is this is expanded now. I think it might be at 370 characters. It's 3 to 4 lines. So you have the ability to put more keywords in here. And so I would say put a couple titles that refer to who you are and what you do, and then keep this tagline for at the end of your headline.
Excuse me, can you just point to where you're talking about?
Yes, so this is your headline right here.
Thank you.
Yeah, right underneath your name. Another thing to remember with headlines is I always recommend that everyone has their own personal hashtag. It really makes you stand out on the platform. You can use it when you're engaging. You can tell people to follow you. Every time you use that hashtag, people will more likely be able to see it in their feed. So make sure it is a hashtag that really refers to what you do. And more importantly, before you pick a hashtag, make sure to search it in the search box up here, because it could already be taken and you never want to be showing up in someone that's very similar, say another business coach or another real estate agent. You want to make sure to differentiate yourself. But optimizing the headline is one of the top things I say, really banner and then headline. And the reason for this is the way the LinkedIn algorithm works is when anybody does a search for anybody on the platform, the first thing that it goes to is your headline. So before it checks anything else, it goes to headline. The next section it checks keywords for is your about section down here. And the third spot it hits is your skill section, which we're gonna go over in a little bit. Let's see if it loads. Your skill section down here. So these are all 3 top key areas that if you haven't optimized, to make sure you do as soon as possible. All right, so again, this box is the most important area up here. Reason for that being is we want to get our audience to scroll. If they land on our page, do you see how it sees as a viewer? I'm seeing this box up here, and then I'm seeing people you may know. I want to get people to scroll to this about section. This is where I want to draw their attention and let them know more about me. If I'm not convinced up here, I'm going to move on. I might not connect with you. I might move forward, forward with you. I might go over here to people viewed and view somebody else. So super, super important. Moving down to the about section, a few things that I am seeing here is that your spacing is really good. So I always like to balance this off with some good things that I'm seeing. I see a lot of the time on LinkedIn 2 different things for people that aren't too familiar with the platform. A is that they're really chunky, big paragraphs. People are simply not going to read it, right? LinkedIn is scanning. Even if we're on our feed, we're not going to read this huge, large paragraph. Another thing that I see more often with career professionals and business owners is they will have the automatic LinkedIn generated about section. This is being a little bit less used as time goes on, but it's a 4-line summary that LinkedIn auto generates and really doesn't help you out. Let's see. I always recommend putting things in a list format. People love lists. It's really easy to scan. So even though we have a lot of white space here, it's broken up. Really guide your audience down and break it down so we are seeing key things. So even though this is spread out, there's not really a specific area that my eye is drawn to except your website, which is good, but I want to know really clearly what is it that you do. So I see executive coaching, but list a few of the key areas and key services that you offer. So when I land here, I can automatically identify. Another really good thing that you're doing here is you're asking your audience a question. This is really good, right? Because if I'm sitting here and I'm struggling with cash flow, I'm going to be encouraged to read further. So just 2 overall things for everyone here to remember is on your about section, one of the first things that you should have at the top is something that's a call to action. So if you are currently launching a program, if you are recruiting for certain types of people to join that program that you're launching or a service, or if you want people to schedule a consult with you to learn more about your services, that's an awesome thing to throw right at the top. And then the next thing should be relate to your audience, ask them a question, make them, whatever your ideal client is, ask them about how they're feeling if that is what you fix, whether it's a service or a product. If you are on any other platforms and really big with your business as well, make sure, this is awesome how you put websites down here, that works. Also make sure whether it's Instagram or Facebook, put a link to those groups as well. Okay, so a main area that you're missing on your profile that you absolutely want to add is the featured section. So at the top of your section here, if you were on your profile, it'll say add to profile, and you could add a featured section. So what the featured section allows you to do is submit any links if you have a website, a scheduling tool, really an area for people to, once they read the about section, they want to learn more. It'll show up right here, and it's going to be examples of your work. It's going to be an opportunity for them to schedule a call with you. You can link images, videos of you. It could be a podcast link. It could be specific pages from your website. It could be an email sign up. Whatever you want people to click on and learn more, or sign up to learn more, or book a call, that's where you want to head. And I always suggest that your first featured link be an option to get in touch with you. I always recommend through a scheduling tool like Calendly, because you want to encourage them to go ahead and schedule a call in your about section, right? We want to get them on the phone. We want to learn more. And maybe it's not on a phone. I have a client that she's gotten to a point where her business is so large now, she needs people to apply for a call. So she has a link for them to apply for a call. She uses Voxer to get in touch with people. She has her Voxer link, whatever it is, however you want those, your ideal clients to get in touch with you first and foremost, make sure to leave a link for them to hear for do so. Because what this is really making me say now is, okay, well, I can go to the website, but other than contacting you through a message, there's not really a way for me to book a call, and I want to be encouraged to book that call.
Where did you say this feature section is? Because what you described, I did have on here, and I don't know if it just disappeared.
Yep. So right at the top here, it should say add to your profile.
Where it says pending or,
Yeah. So on your end. So when you bring up your LinkedIn profile, I'm looking at this as a viewer, but on
okay,
your LinkedIn profile, it'll say add to profile.
at that location, right to the left of where it says message?
Yes. And then when
Okay.
you click on it, it'll say featured, like add a featured section. And you could add any link, image, graphic, video that you would like.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. All right. So your experience section, I get this question a lot where people say, well, I worked in corporate for X amount of years and now I'm on my own and I don't really know. Should I have all these positions listed? Is it too much? And there's a few different ways to go here. A, to expand your network, right? Say if you worked at, for example, Coca-Cola for years, that's a huge network and more people are able to see you. It's just opening up your network. I've also had clients that have had bad relationships leaving those types of companies, or they don't want their prior employer seeing where they're working. Obviously leave it off if that's the case. Otherwise, I always say, think about it in the sense of, well, what really relates to what you do? And it doesn't mean it has to be in the same subject area. So I was recently working with a mindset coach and she's like, well, I worked in the financial industry before. Okay, but you also help people transition to what they're doing. And so your path shows how you transition yourself. So it's all contributing, and everything we do obviously contributes to what we're currently doing. But really thinking, if you were an ideal client landing on your profile, does it make sense? Can I see how those skill sets apply to what you're currently doing now? So I wouldn't list too many positions. This is a lot. Unless it all relates to what you do, then it's fine. That being said, you don't want to make it too overwhelming for a viewer in this section. And so how I like to differentiate it is, if we have all of these positions listed, really pick about 2 to 3 stanzas, which means 2 to 3 sentences broken up in 2 to 3 little paragraphs, instead of something that's this long per section that's not even related to, well, this is what you're currently doing. But say if it wasn't, then you wouldn't want it to be that long. But your most recent position, which I'm assuming is your small business for everyone here, that's where you really want to build out and draw the most attention to. So this area should stand out among all of your other positions, if that makes sense. I always recommend putting a scheduling tool down here. This is awesome. You're telling us about a free event link. I would also put that in your featured section. You're giving us a call to action, which is really good. I always recommend list here. Make it super easy for us to scan and automatically know what you do and also what I'm going to achieve by working with you. Let's see. Down past experience, education. Okay. Moving down to volunteer experience, this is really, really important for career seekers, for any other small business owner. I always say add it if it expands your network. So for people, for example, who work with a organization that has a big following on LinkedIn, it's only expanding your network. It's never going to hurt you. So feel free to add it, especially like something like Habitat for Humanity. It really opens up your network there. For skills and endorsements, let's see, it looks like you probably have just about the full 50. I land on a lot of profiles and I'm only seeing about 10 to 15 skills actually showing up in this section. This is an area for you to definitely optimize. Use all 50 because the algorithm is hitting here in the search, and that's what's going to get you to the top above your competition. Lastly, always make sure, yeah.
You use all 50. I mean, there's 50 categories of skills and endorsements that you want to see there?
Yep. So when you go ahead and you add a skill, LinkedIn actually brings up another 8 related skills. So you want to make sure to put all those in there.
Oh.
Lastly, I would make sure to have, and this is just good for everybody here, I'm probably answering some of your questions as we go. As far as your recommendations go, make sure they're up to date. So for example, this one hasn't been updated since 2017. Your last one is 2017. I would say ask all of your recent clients, send some recommendation requests out. Most importantly, remember that you do have to be connected on the platform before asking for a recommendation. All right, who is next?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tom, are you next or am I? Dawn. Are you next or am I?
You are.
Thank you.
All right, let's see what happened here. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna stop share for a minute while I open this link. I think I probably asked a lot, answered a lot of questions as I was going through, so we will try to get through everyone else as we go and make it a little bit shorter. All right, Donna, let's do Lorraine, you said you're next?
Yes,
Okay, perfect.
just to let you know, my banner is changing.
Okay, now. All right, it looks like the URL may not have copied correctly. It wasn't letting me get into the profile. Let me try again.
It's Lorraine M. Sanborn.
Yeah, the link's not working.
It's in there a couple of
Lorraine, the R is missing in the link you posted. It's Sanbon, it says.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, Lori, let me put it in again. Okay, so just www.linkedin. COMINLORRAINES, whoops, M, whoops. Try that one, Aaron. Oh, that doesn't look right either.
Got it. I think Gabe was able to put it in.
Thank you. Thank you, Gabe.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Let's do Lorraine's next. Okay, so a few things here. There's a few different areas. There's a lot of stuff under discussion with LinkedIn right now. Something to just be cautious about is emojis and names. So I see this a lot. It sticks out. It makes us gravitate towards these profiles. Just keep in mind, it does go against LinkedIn standards. So it's possible that they could potentially shut your profile down. You do have to be careful of it. They could send a warning. They might not necessarily shut it down. They could send a warning. The reason for that is LinkedIn's really strict on having the name area be your name that's on your birth certificate. Super, super strict. I'm not going to say it's necessarily going to, and I will say it does gravitate more into my eye to your profile. I would just be really careful if you do get a warning to adjust it. A lot of people are doing it. It's just a matter of which profiles LinkedIn actually finds, but I do just like to give that warning to everyone.
Can you say that again? It's
Yeah.
asking for your name to be the same as what?
What's on your birth certificate. So right now, obviously, there's not an emoji before someone's first name, and so LinkedIn is really strict about this.
That's been there for a long time, so they must not have caught it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like one of those things, like you're taking a risk and you may or may not be found, and then your profile could be restricted. So it's something to keep in mind because it's associated with your email. Mhm.
Quick question.
Yeah.
So my birth certificate says Robert Burton. So you're saying if I don't have Robert and I'm using Rob, since that's what I use for 50 something years, LinkedIn might flag that?
It's a variation of your name, so it's fine. It's more like having like an emoji or
Got it. Okay.
if you had like business coach instead of your name, that's where it tends to get really strict. And it depends. I mean, a lot of people have it, but I do just like to give the forewarning so people have it.
So
But
Aaron,
don't do that.
Aaron, my maiden name or my birth certificate name is several names back, so I'm not gonna put them there, right?
Yeah, and I don't mean it like literally like that. I mean like what's on your ID, like what's on your credit card, right? Like what?
Oh,
is
okay,
actual-
okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah. So same kind of thing, like where you're putting prosperity mentor, I would definitely put this in your headline. And the reason for that being is when you are, when you're searched for by like your ideal client or whoever it may be, you're actually going to get picked up more frequently having prosperity mentor in your headline. So I would definitely move it down to this area. Lorraine did a really good job of using page breaks in between her titles here. Like this is exactly what I'm talking about. Leader, agent, advocate. Applying a title to a subject area works really, really well on LinkedIn. So great job on the headline. If you wanted to add like a tagline at the end of specialist and say like what your business motto is or what your specialty is, that's not a title, that would be okay at that point. And you could also add your personal hashtag if you would like. I know you said the banner's changing, so my only thing there would be making sure, obviously, we could see your other picture, but I know you said it's changing. And just encouraging a way for us to get in touch with you, whether it's encouraging people to schedule a call, whether it's your website, just letting us know just from your banner how we can move forward after seeing your profile.
Well, she's got a digital card, so wouldn't it be obvious for her to put her
I
keyword in
think
there?
I think it's there. Can you go back? I thought I put it there. Where it's in there somewhere.
Yeah, so I would put it on your banner, and then I would also put it in your headline as well.
On my banner that I'm having recreated, put that there.
Yeah, I would.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the first thing you're seeing when we land on your profile. So it's encouraging us to scan further. And if we're even only landing on your profile for a second, we're going to know how to get all your information.
Okay. So put the digital card in my banner, in the banner.
Well, you can put parts of it. It really depends what's going to fit, but you want to make sure to say text, like for mine, like text LinkedIn to 21,000, and then also put it down here in the headline section.
Okay. I'm not sure I want it in the banner, but that's okay. I'll figure that out.
Okay. All right, so same kind of thing with your banner is being really specific in the beginning, giving us a call to action, how to get in touch with you, what we should, something about your services. And then before you dive into yourself, always relate to your audience first. This is the copy that gets people really engaged with your audience. So put them in that setting. Ask them a question. What's their current struggle, whether it's money or I know we spoke to Nikki recently, like talking about, and I think she does this really well, like talking about something money related, like think about your ideal client's brain. What is it that they're struggling? And then talk about how you provide that solution, if that makes sense, because that's drawing them in to then learn further about you. So I like that you talk about your journey, just draw them in first a little bit more.
So ask a question before I found the way, I would ask a question.
Yeah, so something at the top, asking them about, whatever is related to your business, talk about whatever their current struggle is. Are you feeling this? Are you experiencing this? Something along those lines, or I can help you do this, like really clear right up at the front how you can provide them with a solution.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Where's my energy business card thing?
Yeah, so definitely keep this as well. Moving down to experience. Same kind of thing as we discussed before, is you really want to just build this more out in a list format that's really easy to scan instead of a chunky paragraph. Give us some white space, break it up a little bit, guide us down, give us a list. People love lists. They see them over and over again and they want to complete them. So there's an area, if we go over, where we have to click see more. We really want to get that person to click see more and to learn more about it, what it is that we do. I always say whatever you don't put in your about section, add to experience. So maybe you talk about the services you offer, who your ideal client is, and some of your success stories or testimonials, throw that in your about section. And then maybe an experience, you tell us what have your clients achieved from working with you? What's an example? Really show us into your business. Give us that light so we know what it's going to be like to work with you directly. Okay, we touched on volunteer experience in the last profile. Same thing with skills. It looks like you may have all 50 or you're pretty close. If not, definitely just add those last few if you don't have them in. And then most importantly, making sure you pin the skills that are really important to what you do. So when you go to add a skill, there's a little kind of like pin tag. Just make sure you are always pinning the most important skill. And something overall to just remember with LinkedIn is that it's not just what you've done in the past. Obviously, everyone's services and offers are ever changing. So whatever we apply here, whether it's something in the featured section, a sign-up sheet, an email sheet, a skill that we currently have pinned, maybe our services slightly switch. So for example, I started off in career coaching and now I do LinkedIn coaching. So I have to make sure to integrate both in order to be found in searches. Something really small, but just be careful here. There's a little spelling error. So just make sure to change this because I want to make sure that you are found by this keyword here for anti-aging coaching.
That somebody did put that in there, right?
So it had to be applied at some point. People endorsed you for it, but it's not going to show up in a search because it's missing. So when you write on there's going to be a pencil icon here,
yeah,
and you can just delete it and re-add anti-aging coaching.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Awesome. So you have a ton of recommendations. This really, really helps to how you're found in searches, especially across your competition on the platform. So really good job here. I would imagine you asked a lot of people, or maybe they're just going on their own and doing it, for recommendations on LinkedIn, and you've done an awesome job there. Perfect. All right, who is next?
I think I am. I'm not sure. You want me to paste it in there again for you?
Sure, let me go to, if it's in the chat, I can grab it.
Gabe, we're gonna get this recording, right?
Did you find it already?
I got
Yes,
it.
it will be recorded, Lorraine.
Yes, I got it.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah. All right, I think with each audit, we're answering some of the questions some of you may have. So it should be take a little quicker with the last few. So that's why it's just getting quicker as we go. All right. Good. So good use of emoji. You're doing it in the headline. Obviously optimize this area more like we talked about, because you have the ability to have about over 300 characters. So just get more keywords in here.
So all in here. So right where tax problem solver is, I should put a bunch of other.
Yeah, like other titles or areas that you refer to, and then just apply a title to it, because this is the first area that you're going to be found in, what the LinkedIn algorithm is going to target to see if you were a match for somebody's search.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, awesome. This is exactly what I talked about. You're telling people right away how to get in touch with you. This is making me definitely click the see more. Definitely optimize this area more. So this is 2,000 characters. You can add more here. I like that both of you have the text IRS. You're telling us, add your website, add more information what you do. Always add lists. So a list of, these are my ideal clients. These are my services. Tell us more. Really draw us into your business. Here's a great example of a featured section. So Adon, she pinned a post that she did that got good engagement, which is awesome. If you have a post with really good engagement that people are gravitating towards, absolutely pin it, because A, it's going to cause more engagement. And people were interested in this naturally on her feed, so they're going to be interested and go into it when they're just viewing her profile as well. But this is what the featured section looks like, just so you know. Diving down into experience.
Yeah, it's not
This list, but this list is exactly what I'm talking about. See how much clearer it is to read this? We're not reading a clunky, really chunky paragraph. So build it out a little bit more, add your link to schedule a call with you or something along those lines. Tell us what your clients achieve from working with you. Just build it out a little bit more. You don't have to worry too much about these other areas. I would give short descriptions, because I'm assuming that these do contribute to how you got started and what you're doing now. So it's only giving you credibility, and it is relating. So it's fine to put at least 1 or 2 sentences describing that experience. Awesome. I would be careful here and just take off this Northeastern, because you have it here.
up to. Okay.
I would make sure to go ahead and click on CPA. So there's a drop-down menu that appears to make sure that you are showing up in the CPA network. I know that just from doing someone else's profile, so double check that. And it'll show up just like this. You have your volunteer experience. We went over skills. The same thing here. It looks like you have 50, but if not, maybe you have like 46. If you do, just make sure to get to 50. And then same thing with recommendations. Definitely get some 2020 and recent recs. Sometimes they even recommend your email signature, giving people the ability to leave a recommendation just like you would on Google or on your website. You can really do that in your email signature, or maybe once you finish a service or you complete a purchase for a product with a client, go ahead and send them a follow-up email with a request to leave a recommendation on your LinkedIn. Just really think about what's the easiest way that you can do it for your client, right? That's going to make them actually leave the recommendation.
Okay.
All right, who's next? And then also let me know if anybody wants a post audit instead of a profile audit.
Yeah, I think I'm next.
Okay.
I will take a post audit, since now I kind of know what I need to change in my profile.
Perfect. Okay, already connected with you. Let me go to your most recent activity. Good job here with having your picture in your featured section. I always like to see that. Okay, so I'm going to go to Nikki's activity, because I'm going to go to her most recent posts. Okay, perfect. 21 hours ago. Okay, so a few things here that Nikki did really well. She gave us a picture of herself and she applied words on the picture. This works really well with photos and videos. Keep that in mind. Sometimes I get the question a lot, well, do I always need a photo or video? Because is that really what's going to get people to stop? And I say yes and no, because the algorithm is always changing, especially with the year of the pandemic, like timing of posts, for example, have really changed. So be careful with that. But I always say typically photos get more, but sometimes I play around with it and a text post get more. So you don't have to, but obviously it draws our attention and stops us to look at this post in the feed. So what Nikki did really well here is this is called getting your text above the fold here. So this is the see more button. But what she did really well is that she is telling us to do something. So she's speaking to us, not about herself automatically. You really want to speak to your audience as we, or incorporate them with you or your journey. You never really want to start off a post with I and dive right into yourself. Speaking to your audience is powerful. But what she's worked with here is these 3 lines that are above the fold. When I say above the fold, I mean above the see more on the post. This means that we want to read more. We want to get our audience to click the see more button. That's the whole purpose of the post. And so right here, she's telling us, imagine being able to trust that you're making the right decisions. So I'm clicking see more. Why I did this is because I assumed that she was going to provide a list to me. That's the number one thing I want. I'm assuming by her giving me one thing that there's going to be a list. Again, people love lists. If you start off numbering these, sometimes it even works a little bit better, because even though I use this emoji a lot and it works, if you use this hand pointing to something, but it's a 1, people are definitely going to assume it's a list, and people want to finish lists. So if we had 1, they want to get to 3, right? So that's the one thing you could see, although I do use this emoji a lot because it grabs people's attention. So I would say definitely later on in the post, you could use it. You don't have to use as much white space as you're using, although it's easy to scan. You can or cannot, I would play around with it and see what your audience gravitates towards. So there's some controversy on burying links in posts. So it's really helpful to get the link towards the top of a post, depending on what it is. I played around with it. Posts that get the link at the top tend to get more engagement. Reason for this is LinkedIn is trying not to get people to leave the platform. They want them to get to stay on. Sometimes this happens, sometimes it doesn't. Like I've put Calendly links down here before and they still get a lot of engagement, but something to play around with. If you ever create a post and the link is down towards the bottom, always put it back at the top on another post and see what's going on. See if you start to lose engagement or gain engagement and play around with it. Okay, perfect. So awesome. One of the things you want to be careful on LinkedIn that Nikki did here is only using 5 hashtags. If you use more, it starts to wash away engagement on other hashtags. So always use 5 or less. That's perfect. So you gave us a call to action. You told us to learn more. What I would do is encourage, so you've gotten comments here. What you could always do to work on this a little bit more is encourage your audience to tell us something in the comments. Tell us like how you relate to this, or for example, I Can Get You There Faster program has helped people succeed over and over again. Maybe you tag a few people that in the comments that have actually completed your program so that they naturally leave a testimonial, or maybe you ask people, tell me below in the comments, what's your biggest struggle with money right now? Because that gets the conversation going, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Good thing here, she's responding to comments. Make sure to respond to comments as soon as possible. That is the best way to gain the most traction. If Melinda wrote a comment and you let this sit for like 4 days, it's going to lose engagement on your post. If you're going to post, be ready to respond to comments. It's my biggest advice.
Okay.
Yeah, which you did. Just keep that in mind. And as you guys probably know, the more you comment, like say, if Melinda commented on my post, I'm going to make sure to go comment on Melinda's post, right? We want to make sure to reciprocate, because if we're doing the same people over and over again and we're not reciprocating, they're probably not going to engage with us, and then we lose overall engagement. So just a little thing to keep in mind there. All right, who is next? And just tell me if it's a post or a profile.
I think I was next.
Awesome.
Let's do the profile.
Okay, let's see.
You'll be able to rip this one apart. It's terrible.
Let's see where. Press, okay. Okay, so great picture. You're looking right at the camera. Okay, so by looking at this photo, I might assume that you're a travel agent, to be frank. Keep that in mind. So I might think you're something, or real estate. So I would just make this, if you're gonna have this as your background, cities don't always tend to work too well because it also limits you to that area. If you are virtual and can work in any area in the US or even internationally. So I would keep that in mind. Also, you have a lot of blank space to tell us what to do. So whether you want us to text us your link, whatever your code is for 21,000. If you want us to go to your website, if you want us to schedule a call with you, tell us what you want us to do, because this is wide open space, especially on a clear background that's going, number one, I'm looking at the clouds automatically because it's drawing my eye in, but you are giving me a lot of opportunity to get in touch with you if you have something like that listed.
Got it.
Again, make sure to, instead of using like full sentences or full phrases in your headline, break this up with exactly what you do first, like a few key titles, and then add this at the end of the headline. So just give us your title up front and then add all of this.
Should that be more keywords? That seems maybe
Yeah.
that should be more about
Keywords,
in the
but
about section.
Yeah, keywords you can definitely have here. You can, like, I would have this is fine as your motto after your keywords, still in your headline, because we have so much extra space now. Like this is something I would add more to the about section here. This is exactly what I mean. Good job about adding your Calendly link in the featured section. Definitely add your photo, because I want to know who I am going to be clicking on the link for. And then, right, because I'm just saying this here, if I saw your photo, I'm more likely to connect with you.
So you can change that. Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, so this can be done on Calendly under account settings.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Awesome. So you did a really good job here of listing this out, because look how easy this is for us to read. And we automatically want to click see more. So you did a good job. I would break this up in a list format as well. So client examples, list these out instead of a paragraph. And then add your scheduling tool again in the link section down here. So you're giving us 2 opportunities to schedule a consult with you.
Okay.
Good. You have BNI up here. That's good. That's good for your network. Recommendations. Good. You're also getting a lot of Okay. So these are a little far apart, 2011 and 2020. I would just be really thinking about your clients recent, or whoever you're working with soon. Make sure when you are completed with them, or as you're working with them and you feel like you've spent enough time, to ask them for a rec on LinkedIn as well.
So what's your opinion on if you have multiple businesses? I've been told keep everything on one LinkedIn profile versus having a separate one for each business. Yeah,
so you definitely want one personal LinkedIn profile, but you do want business pages. So you definitely want to create a business page up here for this position so that your logo is showing if you haven't already. So it's about creating separate business pages for each business that you have, but one overarching personal profile. And you should be engaging and posting through your personal profile.
Through your personal, and then link it to your business?
Yeah, so as far as your business pages go, I would say post like once or twice a month on the business pages, but people buy from people, right? And they want to know what you're associated with. So on LinkedIn, I would be posting the most on your personal, and then once or twice on the business pages.
Get it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Who is next? Was it Tara?
It was me, Michael.
Okay. Awesome.
You need the link again?
Yes, let me pull up the chat. It's gonna let me. Okay. You are.
Oh, basically, yeah.
Awesome.
There's
Thank
the
you.
file.
Yeah, thanks. Okay.
Hey, Aaron, just to let you know, we're about 5 minutes from 2 o'clock. So
Awesome. So I'll have Michael's be the last. I hope this answers some of your questions. I think a lot of these overlap, so a lot of this advice really applies to everyone's profile. Okay, so something to keep in mind with organizations like Edward Jones or US Health Advisors is another one with healthcare. Just be very careful and just mindful of what your company allows on LinkedIn. So I've seen a lot of different companies permit, like sometimes I can't do their profiles or I get a handbook. I have a lot of handbooks on my desktop of different companies that I have to really making sure that I follow the language overall. So if you have anything like that, anyone on this call, be careful. Okay, so if Edward Jones allows, I would definitely have more on your banner
This is
like we talked
approved.
about. What's that?
This is approved by them.
Okay, so if you could add anything on your banner in terms like just what I was telling Chris about how to get in touch with you, the website, anything like that, that really helps. Because again, you have a picture that's drawing my attention and there's light again. And so I'm automatically drawn here, but I want to know more, right? Same thing with, okay, you have keywords here. Awesome. You could add more here if you wanted to. You could break this up with page breaks. I always say page breaks are better than commas. Just easier on the eye, easy to read. So starting off your about section, I would start off with something a little bit more grabbing your audience's attention, relating to them, talking about maybe financial struggles or talking about retirement planning or college planning, whatever it may be. Really set the stage for what they need and then dive into what you do. So you've done a good space of breaking it up with white space. You use lists here, exactly what I'm talking about. And then you kind of leave us wondering. And so right at the bottom here, I would leave like your website. You could, just like those emojis that Nikki used, but the finger that like points down towards the featured section, you could say something like schedule a consult below or something along those lines so that if I'm really happy with everything I've read, I know how to automatically get in touch with you super easy.
Okay, so put it in this area, put it at the bottom.
Yeah, because so if you had a featured section with that Calendly link, like we just saw with Chris's profile, it's right here, schedule a consult below. It's going to appear right in this section and it makes it really easy to read.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see, experience, same kind of thing. I would list a little bit more of your most recent experience out. I would say in your position, not as crucial, especially if you are affiliated with Edward Jones. But again, just makes it a little bit easier. Show us. Another thing I would show here, if you can, according to Edward Jones, is having something of like a few testimonials of your clients. I never use names, but I do put it in quotes, just so you know. That applies to everyone that's called. Testimonials work well in the about section. Let's see, we have 2 minutes left. Keep all these companies here because like Coca-Cola, this is really opening your network, which means that you'll have a lot of second connections. You have your education, licenses, okay. Skills, awesome. Looks like you may have 50 as well. Just double check that. Make sure to continuously pin what's most relevant to now. So for example, you have program management, aerospace, and project management. I think this has changed with what you're currently doing. So I would relate that more to finance. And you could still keep these skills, but make sure to unpin them from the top.
Okay.
And let's see. Again, I would definitely add recommendations if Edward Jones allows. Again, I want to make sure that, you know, they do approve that. But if so, adding them to your profile really does help you be found. But I know we have 1 minute left, so I know Gabe would like to close it for today. But I hope that this was helpful and just got your mind off of stuff going on today.
Can I throw one quick question out? You said you could put things on your banner. The banner is a photo. You could actually go in and edit and put like my energy thing on the banner.
Yeah, so yeah, like an editing tool. So if you were going to use, like I always recommend using Canva, Photoshop, whatever you have, that's how you would go ahead to be able to do it. Just keep in mind the banner size is 1584 by 396 pixels. And I'll just throw that in the chat really quick as well. If you are creating your banner by yourself, make sure it's this size because otherwise it may appear a little bit blurry and you don't know why. There you go.
Thank you. That was awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, thank you very much.
Of course.
Way to
Sorry
go.
everybody.
Yeah, Aaron, during the meeting, I think I changed 3 things on my own profile.